The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting groups. If you'd like to produce a show, call us at 260-421-1250.
That's not the apples he grew. He grew these kind. Look how ugly this is. They were called spitters. The reason why they call them spitters is when you bit into them, you spit them out because they tasted so bad. Okay? And so that's the illusion. It wasn't like in the movie, the melody and all that stuff with Disney. Wasn't run around with red apples. But these apples provided substance. Is that how you pronounce it, Katie? Substance? Close. For the settlers, because survival was a big deal then too. And they used apples as currency. They didn't have currency back then. They just defeated the British. So a seedling, which is anywhere from here to about that big or so, he would sell for a 5p bit. I think it's a British term. It's 6 cents and a quarter. So 50 of them, and then he'd move west. Now, what's the relationship with Johnny and the Indians? Now, some people find that offensive calling them Indians, but that's what they were called because Christopher Columbus, when he came to America, was looking for India. That's where that term comes from, okay? And he learned 3 different languages, 3 different Indian languages, and he spoke, not fluent, but he spoke enough Indian that he communicated with them. And he also, he was a herbalist or a medicinal herbalist, so he sold herbs, right, like dog fennel and wintergreen and those kind of things to the Indians. He went to their council meetings, and he became familiar and friends with them, okay? So they thought of him not as a medicine man, but someone who could cure you with his herbs. All right, so now he went what's called the Connecticut Path from Longmeadow, Massachusetts, Allegheny Mountains, and around Pittsburgh they had the cider mills, and that's where he got his seeds, okay, along the Allegheny River and this and that. And so he'd go into Ohio from Warren and Pittsburgh, and he'd plant them by the river where he knew they were coming, and he sold them, and that's how he made money. Now, when he passed away, and yes, he did pass away in Fort Wayne, he was at Archer Park by the river, right? And he, when he died on March 18th, 1845, there was a snowstorm, and he went to build up the, they kept the animals out with like fences made out of, not like fences we have now. He got pneumonia, and at the Worth family home, on that date, he passed away. And there's his gravesite right up on the hill. So, now that I'm the spirit of Johnny, I can say a little bit about what happened after him, right? During Prohibition, the FBI cut down all the darn apple trees. Why? Because hard cider was let's face it, booze. So there was only one tree left in the United States, and that's in Nova, Ohio. Now I'm going to have Bob come up. Bob is a historian, a retired school teacher. He's got a neat looking hat, neater than mine. And he is going to explain a little bit about that. Okay? Here you go.
Thank you, Johnny. You don't have to go away. Hey, Johnny, you know what kind of an apple is not an apple?
No.
A pineapple.
Now he's going to
Good, excellent groans. Good, excellent groans. And you know why the apple did not cross the road?
No.
You ran out of juice. I feel that way some days. Well, the topic that Johnny is referring to is, yes, there were very few of his apples left, and I don't know if it's still there in Nova, Ohio. Is it? It's still there, or other descendants? And so there is a orchardman. Would you call it what was the proper term? I'm a historian, not a agronomist. But at the right time of year, cuttings can be taken from the branches, and they can be attached to rootstock of other varieties, and that's called grafting. And cuttings from that tree in Nova, Ohio came to Allen County. And a farmer whose name was Karsten Rettram lived here in Allen County on a large family farm for many, 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 many years. Just about 7 years ago, in his late 90s, he was having to sell the farm, and it was to a developer. And he so feared, and he had a tree, an apple tree, of the variety Rambo, grown from a cutting from the tree in Nova, Ohio. Have you heard the song, "There's a log in the bottom of the sea, there's a bump on the log in the bottom"? Well, it's kind of like that. The Johnny planted trees, the last ones in Nova, Ohio. We cut off little bits, attach it to other trees to keep that genetic stock going. And one of those trees, grown from his tree, was growing here for many, many years in Allen County, and it was now in jeopardy. So Karsten Rettram and his family funded a professional landscaper to move a fully grown apple tree, and they needed a place for it to go. So they came to us at Fort Wayne's historical fort on Spy Run. We're in a little city park, so we operate the fort on behalf of the Fort Wayne Parks and Recreation Department, City of Fort Wayne. And so they said they wanted it somewhere near the fort so people can come and see it, and it would be cared for. And a local group called, I think it's like the Fort Wayne Fruit Growers Club, they tend it, and they remove cuttings, and they can keep the cycle going. Well, it was seriously stressed in the move. A huge truck, a massive truck, comes and takes a big divot out of the ground and sets it aside, and they go for that fully grown tree. It's called a tree spade, and they remove a huge piece of ground and lift that tree up and transport it and put it down in the divot that they made right next to the fort. So any day we don't have daily hours or have staff there, but any day of the week you can park on Spy Run on the east side and follow the River Greenway and go under all of the traffic. I love NASCAR, just not in my backyard. So walk under the new Veterans Memorial Bridge over to the grounds of historic Fort Wayne and just follow the path down toward the fort, and off to your left there's a large apple tree. It was covered, for the first time in all these years, it was covered in blossoms, and it had apples on them, and I haven't seen a one of them. Souvenir takers maybe, I don't know, but that's neither here nor there. The tree was saved, and it's here in Fort Wayne. You can touch the spirit of Johnny Appleseed any day of the week. Come and see that tree. Get a selfie with the tree.
All right, you want to hear some interesting facts? after Prohibition, the Apple industry got a hit because of that, and so the Apple industry, the term an apple a day keeps the doctor away. That's from back when they did away with Prohibition. Okay? You want to hear another interesting fact? You know when you call someone square? He's a square. Well, back in the old days, the shoes were square, but then they became, you know, the design like pointed and this and that. But some people stuck with the square shoe, and people will go, he's a square. But that the connotation now is he's kind of a square, right? Yeah. Okay. So, interesting fact also, next year, Saturday and Sunday, it's always the third Saturday and Sunday of September is our 50th anniversary of the Johnny Appleseed Festival. Yes. Now, I talked to you about the pot on the head. There's a guy walking around here with a pot on. He's hilarious. It's great. But actually, it was like I mentioned before, it was more of a prop. But next year, I'm going to have it tied to my waist so they see the pot. Because I have to walk up to people with pencils and go, hi, I'm Johnny Appleseed. Would you like a pencil? And then I start telling them about Johnny Appleseed. But I'm blessed that they asked me to do it. I have no fear of audiences. Bob has no fear also. And it's a wonderful subject. I gave 30 pencils to a teacher, and they're going to do a project about Johnny Appleseed. So Johnny Appleseed is not a character that we came up with. It was a real person. Like I mentioned, he ended up with 1,200 acres when he passed away. Shrewd businessman. Do you have any questions about Johnny Appleseed? Yes. Go ahead.
How many years did he live?
Good question. He died on March the 18th, 1845 at the age of 70. And back then, that was very old. That's like late 80s now. Usually they didn't live much longer than 50. Old people were 60. But because of medicine and all that, people last a lot longer now. But that's a very good question. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Did he die well off, or was he kind of a pauper?
Well, he looked like a pauper, and people said, I thought Johnny Appleseed walked around with bare feet. Well, he did most of the time, but he was such a generous person. If you wanted a pair of shoes, he'd just give them to you. He's the most generous person I ever knew. What was the question again? Oh, was he wealthy? Yeah, it was 1,200 acres is what he ended up with when he passed away. He's actually very wealthy.
What happened to the acres?
What happened, it was sold and given to families. Like he talked about a family. Yeah, they inherited.
The Chapman family
Yes, sir.
still owns some of it.
Pardon me? Am I a relative? No, I'm not.
My wife is.
Your wife is?
My wife's Chapman, yes.
A Chapman. Where are you from?
Portland. He owned a lot of the land he got was up around where 469 and 37 are. If you look,
Come up here. Come on. Get up here. Here. No, we want to hear about this.
Anywhere from there, they own
Come
all
on.
the land.
We want to hear about it. That's interesting. Come on. That's very interesting.
Everything you talk to.
And your name is?
Kent Crow. but
Kent?
My wife is Chapman.
His wife. Well, explain. His wife is a Chapman. Go ahead, real quick.
My wife is a Chapman. She was related to Johnny Appleseed way back when. At one time, Johnny Appleseed owned all the land you can see from 469 and 37. Anywhere you look in any direction, Johnny Appleseed used to own that land. Her grandmother died a few years ago, and I think that's the last piece of the Chapman land that they owned. Once they sold her land, that was it. But the Chapmans did used to own all that land up around That's guess towards Harlan and Grayville area is where he had a lot of his land.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. Did he play the flute? Can I play the flute? No. That guy can. Right there. Get it? Yep. And he'll explain the instrument and he'll play a little song on it. Yeah, very good question. His instruments are in the tent. Can you whistle a tune?
Johnny?
Yes.
I can play the jaw harp.
Ah, the jaw harp.
This is not, well, I don't know if it's a joke or not, but I mean, seriously, this is a very ancient, every culture has an analog to this or something. It is a single note, but you name any song and I can play it. Any song. Someone, a song we can clap to. Young lady, big voice.
Row, row, row your boat.
We Will Rock You by Queen.
Oh, We Will Rock You by Queen. So someone has to sing and accompany me. So. That's no flute.
Very good. Yes, ma'am. A question.
Yes. Was he married and did he have children?
Good question. No, he was. His religion was Swedenborgian. It's the church. The new church. Emanuel Swedenborg is the one that started that, and their belief is you don't get married till you pass. So your spouse you find in heaven. Boy, did he miss out. Hello. Just saying, okay. Yeah, that's a good question. Yes. Good question. Was he a fan of hard cider? Yes, because they bought a lot of that. So you get the cider, you make apple dumplings, you make apple butter, apple this, apple that. It becomes, when it ferments, then it's about 3% alcohol. Yeah, and a lot of those people, the dads and all that, drank that. But they had to use some of that hard cider because the water was so bad that they mixed vinegar with the water so it was drinkable. Yeah. But that's why the FBI cut all those darn trees down, because they were still moonshine and apple cider. Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Why did the apple cross the road? No, sorry. To get to. Why did not the apple cross the road? It was out of juice. Get it? Juice? Anyway, go ahead. You got a question? Yes. Yes. So I've thought about getting that, but the people who are on the board said no. He only wore that to entertain. That's a myth. It would be too darn hot in the summer, too cold in the winter. But he wore a lot of different hats. Sometimes he had a beard, sometimes he didn't. But see this tattered clothing? He dressed almost like a vagrant. Why? Because he gave a lot of clothes away. One of the most generous people there was. A little lesson about generosity, you know. Yes, ma'am. How did he entertain? He told stories, many of which he told what they call tall tales. There's another word for it, but I can't use it in front of all the kids, right? But yes, he did that, and then that's Swedenborg Bible. He ripped pages out and he gave it to the farmers or the pioneers, and he shared. He was a big fan of reading and education, even though he didn't have any more than a high school education, or what it was back then. Yes. The museum for Johnny Appleseed is in Urbana, Ohio, right near Piqua and Dayton. And that's the biggest museum for Johnny Appleseed. And it's, as Siri would say on the radio in the car, right? Whatever a car is, hello. 2 hours and 16 minutes. And if you ever want to do a report on that, it's an excellent place to get knowledge about that person, Johnny Appleseed. Go ahead, Bob.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Spirit of Johnny. We'll look forward to good people want to talk to you, so go among them. We're going to take just a tiny little break for our tech crew to help.
I've been a wild rover for many a year, and I spent all my money on whiskey and beer. But now I'm returning with gold and great store, and I never will be the wild rover no more. And it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never, no more will I play the wild rover, no, never, no more. I went into an alehouse I used to frequent, and I told the landlady my money was spent. I asked her for credit, she answered me nay. Such a custom as yours I could have any day. And it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never, no more will I play the wild rover, no, never, no more. I took out of my pockets 10 sovereigns bright, and the landlady's eyes opened wide with delight. She said, I have whiskeys and wines of the best, and the words that I told you were only in jest. And it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never, no more will I play the wild rover, no, never, no more. I'll go to my parents, confess what I've done, and ask them to pardon their prodigal son. And when they caressed me, as oft times before, I never will play the wild rover no more. And it's no, nay, never, no, nay, never, no more will I play the wild rover, no, never, no more. And up she rises, way, and up she rises, way, and up she rises early in the morning. Please drop. Sing along. Those of you in the back. What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor early in the morning? Way, hey, and up she rises, way, hey, and up she rises, way, hey, and up she rises early in the morning. Cave his belly with a rusty
razor, shave his belly with a rusted razor, shave his belly with a rusted razor early in the morning. Wait, 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 hey, and up she rises early in the morning.
Put a little on boat too, sober, put a little on boat too, sober, put a little on boat too, he's sober early in the morning.
Wait, wait, hey, and up she rises early in the morning. Put him in the bed with the captain's daughter, put him in the bed with the captain's daughter, put him in the bed with the captain's daughter early in the morning. Wait, wait, hey, and up she rises early in the morning. That's what we do with the drunken sailor, that's what we do with the drunken sailor, that's what we do with the drunken sailor early in the morning. Wait, and up she rises, wait, rises, wait, hey, and up she rises early in the morning. Wait, hey, and up she rises, wait, hey, and up she rises, wait, hey, and up she rises early in the morning. Woo! All of you out there, rock on! Woo!
And tell us who you are.
Diego de Quiroga y Lozada.
Okay.
That was the name I had in a motion picture once. It throws people for a loop. My name is Michael Floyd.
Okay.
I'm executive producer of Windsong Pictures. We've been around for over 50 years producing motion pictures. We've made over 350 films in that time. We work with over 250,000 students and over 45,000 adults.
Tell us the names of some of the movies.
Some of the movies. Out of 350, I don't remember one of them. No, Boyhood of Abraham Lincoln.
Okay.
That screened on 5 different continents. We had a cast of 17,000 people. We had another film called 1816. The state of Indiana asked us to produce a film about the bicentennial of the state, so we called it 1816. We had 18,000 people in that. We crisscrossed the state. We got a lot of people involved with that. That was a lot of fun.
Where can people see your movies?
My living room?
Windsong, okay. And Windsong, can you go on YouTube or what?
When we came out with feature films, we would screen them here locally and then they'd screen other parts of the country. But when COVID hit, we stopped producing feature films because we just couldn't have that many people all together. So we've been producing shorts primarily since that time, and they can be seen on YouTube.
Under what name?
Windsong Pictures.
Windsong Pictures, okay. Good, good. And how did Windsong get started?
You're missing the best part.
Had this bad dream and I woke up, no.
So you actually were the creator of Windsong?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Myself and students. Students always do all the work and deserve all the credit for everything.
Thank you.
You work with colleges too?
Yes, we have.
Have you?
Yes,
What do
we
you do with colleges?
Students just get involved and help us with what we're doing.
Show them how to produce and make movies. Huh?
Right. Yeah.